8 feet of snow starts burying the Sierra Nevada tonight with 80 miles per hour winds creating complete whiteout conditions. Snowfall rates are already hitting 3 inches per hour as I speak. And folks, this is just storm number 1 of a back-to-back winter assault that doesn't quit until March. A retired teacher in Truckee named Dave called me this morning in a panic because his wife's oxygen concentrator just died when the power went out. And with I-80 completely shut down, there's no way to get a replacement up the mountain until the roads reopen. And here's the number that really puts this in perspective. We're looking at 50 to 100 inches of total snowfall across the Sierra Nevada over the next 7 days. That's potentially over 8 feet of snow piling up while Dave's wife is rationing her backup oxygen tank. Minneapolis is digging out from blizzard conditions at 25 degrees right now, while Amarillo, Texas is about to hit 88 degrees tomorrow. That's a 63-degree temperature difference happening at the same time across this country. And honestly, that just blows my mind. This winter just got a whole lot longer, y'all. Because the models just extended this active pattern all the way through the end of February and into early March, bringing us what some forecasters are calling our 3rd winter of the season. All right, think of this pattern like a 1-2 punch from Mother Nature herself. Storm number 1 is slamming the west coast right now with 8 feet of mountain snow, and storm number 2 follows close behind with a more southern track that could bring snow to places that rarely see it. And here's what makes this setup so dangerous, y'all. Saturday night, February 22nd, is when that Arctic blast slams into the central states, and by Sunday morning you're going to wake up to temperatures 40 degrees colder than Friday. That's not a gradual cool down. That's a temperature crash. Now, before we dive into all the details, drop your city in the comments right now. I genuinely want to know where y'all are watching from and whether you're loving this crazy spring of deception or getting hammered by winter weather. And stick with me through this entire breakdown, because at the end I've got 3 bold predictions you can screenshot, plus the exact timing on when that Arctic blast crashes south to end this false spring for good. Dave just texted me an update from Truckee. His neighbor found a portable generator and got his wife's oxygen running again, thank the Lord. But they've already measured 24 inches since midnight, and the power company says it could be days before crews can even reach their neighborhood. That's the kind of life or death situation that folks in these mountain communities are dealing with right now. And that's exactly why I take these winter storm forecasts so seriously. Real people with real medical needs are counting on us to get this right. So, let me start with what's happening right now across the West Coast, because this atmospheric river event is dumping absolutely incredible amounts of moisture on California as we speak. The Sierra Nevada mountains are looking at 4 to 8 feet of snow accumulation at elevations above 5,000 feet, with the heaviest bands producing snowfall rates of 3 inches per hour. That's a foot of snow every 4 hours, folks. In plain English, y'all, we're talking about snow measured in feet, not inches. The kind of accumulation that collapses roofs, buries cars up to their windows, and makes mountain travel absolutely impossible for days on end. Here's the question I need y'all to answer honestly right now if you're planning any mountain travel this week. Do you have tire chains, emergency supplies, extra food and water, medications, and a backup plan if you get stranded for 48 to 72 hours? Because Dave's wife needed that oxygen concentrator to breathe. And there are folks just like her in every neighborhood across these storm zones right now wondering if help can reach them in time. If you've got elderly neighbors or relatives on medical equipment anywhere in these mountain communities, pick up that phone and check on them today. Make sure they have backup power plans and enough medication to last at least 72 hours. Caltrans is already warning that mountain travel will be, and I quote, extremely dangerous to impossible during the peak of this storm, with I-80 over Donner Pass and Highway 50 over Echo Summit closing multiple times. Winter storm warnings are posted across the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades, the Olympics, and even parts of the Rockies, with some of these alerts lasting through Wednesday or possibly even longer. And here's something California folks need to hear right now. There's a tornado threat today, mainly near Los Angeles between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. local time, along with damaging winds that could hit 60 miles per hour across Southern California. So, if you're anywhere in the LA basin or surrounding areas, know where your safe place is and keep your phone charged for weather alerts. California tornadoes are rare, but they do happen, and today is one of those days. Evacuation warnings have been issued for areas near the Palisades, Eaton, and Hearst burn scars in Los Angeles County due to mudslide and debris flow risk. So if you're in those areas, take this dead seriously. Los Angeles at 55 degrees with 1 to 2 inches of heavy rain expected in the valleys and 3 to 4 inches in the foothills. Flash flood watches are in effect for the burn scar areas through tomorrow evening. San Francisco at 52 degrees with 2 to 3 inches of heavy rain and urban flooding already being reported. The atmospheric river is pumping moisture directly into the Bay Area, and it's not letting up anytime soon. Sacramento at 54 degrees getting absolutely soaked with 2 inches of rain expected. And the rivers are already running high, so flood watches are posted throughout the entire Central Valley. San Diego at 58 degrees with about an inch of rain and coastal flooding possible. San Jose at 54 degrees with heavy rain and mudslide potential in the hillside communities east of the city. Fresno at 52 degrees with valley flooding concerns developing. Bakersfield at 55 degrees watching the mountain runoff. The entire state of California is getting absolutely hammered by this storm system. Quick check-in for my California folks. How's that storm looking where you are right now? Drop your location and conditions in the comments because those real-time reports genuinely help everybody stay informed and prepared. Dave sent me another update from Truckee. They're now at 30 inches and counting. But here's what worries me. His wife's backup oxygen tank is down to about 8 hours and the power company still can't give them a timeline for restoration. He said 3 other elderly neighbors on his street are also on medical equipment. And his wife has been organizing a neighborhood check-in system where folks go door to door every few hours to make sure everyone's still okay. That's the kind of community spirit that gets people through these storms, y'all. But not everyone has neighbors looking out for them. And that's why I keep saying check on the folks around you. Seattle at 45 degrees with an inch of rain and heavy snow piling up in the Cascades and Olympics. Some passes could see 2 to 3 feet of snow by Wednesday. Portland at 48 degrees with similar conditions. The Pacific Northwest is getting its share of this moisture train rolling in from the Pacific, and travel through the mountain passes is getting dicey. Denver at 35 degrees with 4 to 6 inches of snow and high winds making travel treacherous along the Front Range. Colorado Springs at 38 degrees with similar accumulation and blowing snow reducing visibility. Salt Lake City at 33 degrees with significant mountain snow in the Wasatch Range. The Utah resorts are going to be swimming in powder, but getting there safely is another story entirely. Reno at 46 degrees, but the mountains just east of the city are getting absolutely buried. Lake Tahoe is looking at several feet of fresh powder that will keep the ski resorts busy for weeks if anyone can actually get there. Now here's where things get really wild, y'all. Because while the West gets buried under feet of snow, the central states are experiencing what I'm calling the spring of deception. And here's why I call it that this warmth is a trap. It's going to lull you into thinking winter is over. You'll put away your coat. Maybe even start thinking about your garden. And then Saturday night, that Arctic blast hits you like a ton of bricks. We're talking about temperatures running 30 to 40 degrees above normal across the heartland right now, with all-time February records getting absolutely shattered across Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas, and Minnesota. And get this, y'all, we've got mid-70s in the middle of February across parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. And multiple Texas cities could hit 90 degrees or higher tomorrow afternoon. That's just absolutely bonkers for mid-February. Chicago could hit the upper 60s and possibly even touch 70 degrees by Wednesday. Indianapolis at 65 degrees, Columbus in the low 60s. It's late April weather showing up 2 full months early. Kansas City warming into the mid-60s and feeling absolutely gorgeous. St. Louis pushing towards 70 degrees. The entire midsection of the country is getting a taste of spring that's going to be ripped away this weekend. Now, before I give y'all the full breakdown on where this warmth goes, quick question, are you Team Spring of Deception loving every minute of this gorgeous weather, or Team Winter wanting that cold and snow back? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Dallas at 85 degrees tomorrow and possibly touching 90 Houston in the low to mid-80s. San Antonio and Austin feeling more like June than February. Texas is absolutely loving this warmth right now. Oklahoma City in the mid-70s and gorgeous. Tulsa at 75 degrees. Wichita at 70 degrees. If you didn't know the date, you'd swear it was late April across the southern plains. But here's the catch, y'all. And I need everyone to hear this Saturday night, February 22nd, is when that Arctic blast slams the door shut on this spring of deception. And by Sunday morning, temperatures will have crashed 35 to 45 degrees from Friday's highs. So, enjoy this warmth. Get outside. Soak up that sunshine. Maybe fire up the grill one more time. But do not put that winter coat in storage because Old Man Winter is coming back with a vengeance this weekend. Dave just texted me again from Truckee. Good news! Finally, a neighbor with a bigger generator made it through the snow to their house and got a more reliable power source hooked up to his wife's oxygen. But he said 2 other elderly neighbors on medical equipment are still without adequate backup power. And with the snow now at 36 inches and still falling, he's genuinely worried about them making it through another night. That's the reality of these mountain snowstorms, folks. It's not just about ski resorts and powder days. It's about vulnerable people in isolated communities fighting to stay alive until help can reach them. Atlanta at 62 degrees and pleasant with sunshine. Nashville warming into the mid-60s and feeling spring-like. Charlotte enjoying mild conditions in the upper 50s. Birmingham at 65 degrees, Memphis at 68 degrees. The entire southeast is locked into the warm side of this pattern and loving every minute of it while it lasts. Miami at 78 degrees with gorgeous tropical conditions as always. Tampa at 75 degrees and sunny. Orlando at 74 degrees. Florida, y'all are living your best life while everyone else deals with this crazy pattern. Jacksonville at 72 degrees and beautiful. Savannah at 68 degrees. Charleston at 65 degrees. The coastal southeast is absolutely perfect for getting outdoors this week. Now let me tell y'all about the northern tier. Because while the warmth builds across the south and central states, the upper Midwest is about to get absolutely slammed by a significant winter storm starting Tuesday night. Minnesota's North Shore along Lake Superior is going to get hit the hardest, with heavy wet snow and winds gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour, creating near blizzard conditions and dangerous travel. This storm is going to dump a widespread 6 to 10 inches of snow across North Dakota, the northern half of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and into the upper peninsula of Michigan. Some areas along the North Shore could easily pick up 12 to 18 inches of snow as the system interacts with that lake-enhanced moisture. This is going to be a significant and potentially dangerous event. The snow is going to be heavy and wet, perfect for snapping tree limbs and taking down power lines. So folks in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin need to be prepared for possible extended outages. Minneapolis at 45 degrees today, enjoying the warmth but watching that winter storm approach for Wednesday. The Twin Cities are right on the southern edge of where the heaviest snow band could set up. Duluth at 40 degrees but about to get absolutely buried starting Tuesday night. If you're anywhere along the North Shore, get your supplies now because travel is going to be a nightmare by Wednesday morning. Milwaukee at 52 degrees, enjoying the warmth before reality arrives. Madison at 50 degrees with similar pleasant conditions. Wisconsin is getting a brief break before winter returns with a vengeance. Detroit at 55 degrees and foggy with temperatures continuing to climb through midweek. Grand Rapids at 52 degrees. The Great Lakes region is loving this fall spring while it lasts. And here's what concerns me about the timing, y'all. The worst of this northern tier storm hits Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, which means the heaviest snow could fall while most folks are sleeping in their beds. Make sure your weather alerts are turned on before you hit the hay Tuesday night if you're anywhere from the Dakotas through Minnesota to Michigan. You do not want to wake up to a surprise blizzard without warning. Fargo at 35 degrees with that winter storm approaching fast. Sioux Falls at 40 degrees watching the system develop. The Dakotas know how to handle winter, but this one's going to test everybody. Green Bay at 48 degrees, enjoying the warmth while it lasts. Marquette at 38 degrees, preparing for significant snow. The UP of Michigan could see 8 to 12 inches from this system. Now let me show you all the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, because while the main storm action is out west and up north, you're going to see some interesting weather developments too. New York City at 52 degrees and foggy with a system exiting the region. Temperatures will continue to warm through the week with highs possibly reaching the 60s before that cold front arrives. Boston at 48 degrees with some energy moving through tonight that could deliver an inch or two of snow. Nothing major, but enough to make the Tuesday morning commute a little interesting. Philadelphia at 55 degrees and mild. Baltimore at 58 degrees and gorgeous. Washington, D.C. at 60 degrees. The I-95 corridor is enjoying a brief taste of spring before winter returns. Pittsburgh at 52 degrees. Buffalo at 45 degrees, watching the lake effect potential later this week. Albany at 48 degrees. The Northeast is in that transition zone between seasons right now. And here's where things could get really interesting for the eastern half of the country by this weekend into early next week. There's potential for a significant storm system to develop with a southern track. The European model and GFS are showing very different solutions right now. One shows almost nothing, while the other shows a pretty significant system impacting the southeast and Ohio Valley. If the cold air arrives at the right time and the storm track shifts just a little bit south, we could see accumulating snow across areas like Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and maybe even into the Carolinas. This is still 5 to 7 days out, so a whole lot can change. But snow lovers in the central and eastern states should definitely be paying close attention to how this third storm develops. A tiny shift in that storm's track could be the difference between widespread heavy snow across the Ohio Valley or a more compact event that misses most of the population centers. Dave sent me what I hope is his final update from Truckee. The power finally came back on after 42 hours. His wife is breathing easy on a regular oxygen concentrator, and he said he's never been so relieved in his entire life. But here's the part that still worries him: those two neighbors down the street on medical equipment. One of them is 84 years old and lives alone, and Dave said he's going to keep checking on her every few hours until he knows she's completely safe. That's what community looks like, y'all. And I'm sharing Dave's story because there are folks just like him and his wife in every single one of these storm zones. People whose lives depend on power staying on. Phoenix at 75 degrees with gorgeous desert sunshine. Tucson at 78 degrees and absolutely beautiful. Las Vegas at 62 degrees. The desert Southwest is your escape from all this winter drama. Albuquerque at 58 degrees and dry. El Paso at 72 degrees and sunny. The Four Corners region is mostly watching this storm pass by to the north with minimal impacts. Honolulu at 82 degrees with tropical perfection as always. And honestly, if you can swing a trip to Hawaii right now, I wouldn't blame you one bit for escaping this crazy winter pattern. What region would y'all like me to go deeper on tomorrow? Drop it in the comments. I'm seeing a lot of requests for the weekend Arctic blast timing and more details on that potential third storm with the southern track. Now let me give y'all the extended outlook, because this is where things get really exciting for winter weather lovers and potentially concerning for everyone else who thought spring was here. The models are showing as many as 3 different large storm systems over the next 7 days. And we're not talking about those garden variety isolated shower and thunderstorm events that come and go. We're talking about widespread impact storms that affect tens of millions of people. The kind of systems that make national news and create travel nightmares across multiple states. Storm number 1 is hammering the west coast right now with up to 8 feet of Sierra snow. Storm number 2 develops Tuesday and tracks across the northern plains and upper Midwest Wednesday. And then storm number 3 is the wild card that everyone in the central and eastern states needs to watch. It could develop this weekend with a more southern track that brings winter weather to areas that haven't seen much this season. The Arctic blast arriving Saturday night, February 22nd, is going to completely reshape our weather pattern. Temperatures will crash 25 to 35 degrees across the northern plains by Thursday and keep dropping from there. And then by Sunday and Monday, that Arctic air pushes into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee, and the Northeast, with temperatures potentially running 20 to 30 degrees below normal by early next week. In plain English, y'all, we're going from the spring of deception with 70s and 80s to what some forecasters are calling our third winter of the season. And this pattern could last all the way through the end of February into March. All right, here are my 3 bold predictions. Screenshot this right now because you can absolutely hold me to these when everything plays out over the next 2 weeks. Prediction number 1. The Sierra Nevada exceeds 8 feet of total snow accumulation by Thursday evening, with Donner Pass staying closed for at least 96 consecutive hours, the longest closure in over 5 years. Prediction number 2. At least 3. Texas cities officially break all-time February temperature records tomorrow, with at least one location hitting 92 degrees or higher. Prediction number 3. Minnesota's North Shore sees over 15 inches of snow by Thursday morning, with wind chills crashing to minus 20 degrees by the weekend, creating the worst travel conditions of the entire winter season. If I'm wrong on any of these predictions, I'll own it right here on this channel. That accountability is exactly how you know you can trust what I'm telling you day after day, week after week. So let me bring it all together, y'all. We've got 8 feet of Sierra snow incoming with 80 miles per hour winds. Texas hitting 90-plus degrees in February, a 63-degree temperature difference between Minneapolis and Amarillo, and a parade of 3 storms lined up through the end of the month. Remember that 1-2 punch from Mother Nature I mentioned at the beginning? Well, folks, she's not done swinging. There's a 3rd storm right behind those 2 with a potential southern track, and winter is not letting go of us yet. The spring of deception we're enjoying right now, with temperatures running 30 to 40 degrees above normal, is going to come to a screeching halt Saturday night, February 22nd, when that Arctic blast arrives. And that weekend storm is the one to watch very closely, y'all. Because if the cold air lines up with the moisture just right, we could see significant snow from Arkansas through Tennessee into the Ohio Valley and maybe even the southeast. Dave's wife is breathing easy tonight in Truckee, but his 84-year-old neighbor is still struggling. And there are thousands of people just like her across these storm zones who need our help and our attention. So please, if you've got elderly neighbors, folks on medical equipment, or anyone living alone in these storm zones, check on them today. Don't wait until the power goes out and the roads are impassable. I'll have an update first thing tomorrow morning with the latest Sierra storm totals, the Texas record temperatures, and whether that 3rd storm with the southern track is looking stronger or weaker in the overnight model runs. Tomorrow I'll also break down exactly which cities are in the crosshairs for that weekend Arctic blast and what kind of temperature crash you can expect in your specific area. Drop your city in the comments one more time, y'all. Let me know if you're loving this spring of deception or ready for winter to return. And tell me what weather story you want me to dig deeper on. Enjoy this warmth while it lasts, folks. Because Saturday night, February 22nd, that Arctic blast arrives and temperatures crash 40 degrees. 2 winter storms are on the way, and this pattern doesn't quit until March. Winter just got a whole lot longer, y'all. But we're going to get through it together, just like Dave and his neighbors in Truckee. Stay safe, stay warm, check on each other, and I'll catch you in the next update. And remember, folks, when Mother Nature throws a 1-2-3 punch like this, you got to be ready to duck and help your neighbors do the same. That's how we survive these storms, together.